Hello everyone and welcome back to Bandwagon Sports. Today I really wanted to talk about the whole dilemma with the New York Rangers really going after George Parros and the NHL Board of Player Safety, or whatever you want to call it, the Department of Player Safety. But I think that this is an interesting topic, and all the hockey news YouTubers are getting their pieces out about it, so I'm here and I wanted to get mine out, even though I'm not nearly as popular as any of them. I still wanted to make the video. And we're going to start with a statement, said, it was directed at George Parros, who is the head of player safety, former player. He played for the Anaheim Ducks, most notably. He was always just a grinder, a fighter, and he became the head of player safety. So I'm going to start reading this whole statement, and it is long, so get ready to listen quite a bit. And what I find really weird about this statement is that the New York Rangers posted it on their Twitter, and the Rangers are one of the teams that post quite a lot of their political things on their Twitter, which is pretty strange. But okay, let's get into this statement. Quote, "The New York Rangers are extremely disappointed that Capitals forward Tom Wilson was not suspended for his horrifying act of violence last night at Madison Square Gardens. Wilson is a repeat offender with a long history of these type of acts, and we find it shocking that the NHL and their Department of Player Safety failed to take the appropriate action and suspend him indefinitely. Wilson's dangerous and reckless actions caused an injury to Artemi Panarin that will prevent him from playing again this season. We view this as a dereliction of duty by NHL head of player safety, George Parros, and believe he is unfit to continue in his current role." So that is, quite a shot fired at George Parros, and George Parros has not responded yet. The NHL has not responded yet to this. I don't know if they will, or if they're just going to let it sit out and maybe, think for their course of action. But I honestly don't know if the Rangers would have made such a big deal out of this if Tom Wilson hit, let's say, a guy like, I don't know, Philip Hedl. If it wasn't Artemi Panarin, do you really think that the Rangers would have done this whole thing going after George Parros? Because I don't think so. I think they're just pissed off because Artemi Panarin is not going to be playing the remainder of the games, which does suck, but it's only 3 games, and I know Tom Wilson is a goon. He's a talented goon as well, and, when the NHL only gives these, pathetic $5,000 fines to players who are making $6 million a year, it equivalates to less than 1% of Tom Wilson's salary. And you have to think that if this behavior continues and it keeps continuing and getting more stronger, this goony behavior, if it starts to come back a little bit more with players like Tom Wilson who have the skill but also have the grit, and if this type of behavior continues, then I think the NHL does have to take a bigger stand on, the punishments that are going to be handed out and suspensions. And I think George Parros has done a good job as the head of player safety. I don't really have a issue with him staying there. I personally am a big fan of George Parros as a player, as a person. In this job, I'm a fan of him, and I might be a bit biased in that sense, but I don't think that it was appropriate for the New York Rangers to go and say that George Parros should just be straight up fired because of one issue that they had with him. It's like 2 kids playing in a sandbox, and George Parros is being, more mature about this than the New York Rangers, I think, because he's not coming out, he's not responding negatively, he's really taking his time to think of what he wants to come out and say, and I appreciate that bit of George Parros. But I do understand the Rangers' concerns, and I do understand that Tom Wilson maybe is starting to go a little bit too far with his actions, but it does not mean that you need to come out and say that George Parros is not doing a good enough job, that he's not doing anything to help, player safety in this league, because I think that he is. And, it's just been a problem for a while now that NHL players don't think that the league is behind them. Gary Bettman, head of player safety, whatever, and I understand where it's coming from. It's just a little bit a little bit childish to go after George Parros like this, and especially doing it through your Twitter. That is just not necessary. It's just not sportsmanlike, not businesslike at all, and I don't know really what else to say. But yeah, really, that's all. That's my take. I think that George Parros is, really not the bad guy here. I think that George Parros, maybe he could have suspended Wilson, yes, but you're going to miss a call. Umpires miss calls all the time, and you don't see them getting fired from their job, so that's my take. I think that the Rangers are kind of being a little bit unreasonable with this statement, and I do get it's their best player being injured, and I have seen the hit. It is bad, but overall, there's a much better way to approach a situation like this, and that's where I currently stand on this issue. Okay, so I literally just ended the video, and I went on my Instagram, and I saw that the New York Rangers have fired Jeff Gorton and President John Davidson. And, this could be a whole video of its own, but I feel like Jeff Gorton, the firing was kind of coming sooner rather than later. But the president as well, they fired both of them, and maybe they're not happy about how the Rangers handled business, like I was saying earlier on in the video, how they're being kind of childish going on their Twitter and making a huge announcement about it. It's just not professional at all, and maybe the Rangers owner said it, but I also have my own little theory that maybe Gary Bettman and George Parros got together and went and got rid of those boys, but I don't really know, but that's just an update, and I think that's going to be the end of this issue, because I don't really see George Parros getting fired at this point. I really hope he doesn't, but it still is a concern if players like Tom Wilson and Ryan Reeves and whoever else you want to say keeps, doing this kind of stuff and just getting fined $5,000. It's not enough of anything for these guys to care or look back at their actions and say, you know what, maybe I need to take it a little bit easy. They're just going to keep doing what they do, and you have to really get into these players' heads. Like Tom Wilson, he's a goon. He's going to keep doing what he's doing, and he's not going to stop unless you really make him think, well, maybe I should stop. So, I just had to add this a little bit into the end of the video, so it might be a little bit awkward, and you can see that I have Retro Bowl gameplay in the background instead of NHL 21, because I ran out of gameplay. I deleted the gameplay after this. So anyways, thank you all for watching. This will be the video. This will be the end. And I will see you all in the next news video. So thanks all for stopping by, and I'll catch you later. Bye.